Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to share my Women in Translation Month TBR. So we are now in August and I am back from my vacation in Italy, which was absolutely fantastic. I feel like I haven't really gotten into the groove of being back yet since I just came home a day ago. Yes, I've been here 1.5 days and I feel like yesterday just went by completely because I was so exhausted post-traveling. But I have been catching up with BookTube, and of course we have now started August, which is Women in Translation Month, and I've already been seeing some Women in Translation Month TBRs. I hadn't meant to make one myself, but I was kind of spurred on by seeing all of these reading plans, and two of the ones that comes to mind is Katja's TBR and Sarah from Harcourt. I will put both of their videos in the description. Definitely go check them out and get some inspiration. I think Katja's wasn't a TBR necessarily. It was she has just started doing a translated literature spotlight series, which is a fantastic idea, and definitely go check that out and keep tabs on that. So without further ado, let's get into the pile. These are books that I am going to be picking and choosing from. Definitely not what I will be realistically reading this month, because I still have a lot of summer TBR books that I want to get to. One of them at least fits into that group as well. But yeah, let's get into the books. First up, we have The Changing, I think is the English title. It is Förändringen by Liv Ullmann. This has been translated from the Norwegian into Swedish by someone whose name we'll see if it appears in... It's a old editions. I don't know if it's actually going to be available anywhere. Cilla Jonsson. Liv Ullmann wrote 2 memoirs. This is the first one. She just writes about her life. So I've been exploring Ingmar Bergman's movies since last summer and have been watching more of Liv Ullmann's work. And so I really thought, when I saw this in my local secondhand shop, I thought it would be a perfect companion to have as I am making my way through her body of work in terms of movies. But yeah, she's a famous actress, and I'm really interested to read more about her life. Then the one that is also on my summer TBR is The Unforgivable and Other Writings by Christina Campo, and this was translated by Alex Andriesse. This is an essay collection about writing and reading, and two of my favorite topics to read about in essay format. I'm thinking this could be something like A Horse at Night by Amina Kane, which is something I love to read during the summer, and I really want to prioritize this one before my vacation ends, so it's going to be high on my priority list because it's also fitting with both Women in Translation and with my summer TBR. And this is an Italian author, again with the Italian theme, since I just been there and I'm already missing it definitely, so I think this would be a good sort of bridge from my vacation there into my time back in Sweden. Another Italian author that I was reminded of by Sarah from Harcourt when she was talking about one of this author's more recent books. This is Forbidden Notebook by Alba Cespedes, and this has been translated by Goldstein, who also translates the Elena Ferrante books, I think, and it has an introduction forward by Jhumpa Lahiri, who I love. She is one of those writers and thinkers that I really appreciate and respect, and since she's made a forward for this, it definitely bodes well. But it is about a woman who discovers a love of writing. So it says, out running an errand, Valeria Xati gives in to a sudden impulse. She buys a shiny black notebook. She starts keeping a diary in secret, recording her concerns about her daughter, the constant churn of the domestic routine, and her fears that her husband will discover the new habit. With each entry, Valeria plunges deeper into her interior life, uncovering profound dissatisfaction and restlessness as she finds her own voice. The roles that have come to define her as wife, as mother, as daughter begin to break apart. And I feel like this would be a good sort of book combining with things I've been reading in the summer. So I read both Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan books, the third one in the quartet, and Tove Ditlevsen's autobiography trilogy while I was in Italy, and both of those talk about being a mother and being a writer very much. And so I think this would be a good companion to have alongside reading those recently as well. Then we have a Japanese novel. It is Women Running in the Mountains by Yuko Tsushima. Again, we have a book with a mother theme. This has been translated by Geraldine Harcourt. And this author, I've read one of her other books, the one that has a Penguin Modern Classic edition. I can't remember the title, but I will put a photo of it on the screen. But this one is, again, as I said, about a mother who has a young child and is sort of dealing with being a mother in the early days. So it says, alone at dawn in the heat of midsummer, a young woman named Takiko Odaka departs on foot from the hospital to give birth to a baby boy. Her pregnancy, the result of a brief affair with a married man, is a source of sorrow and shame to her abusive parents. For Takiko, however, it is a cause for reverie. Her baby, she imagines, will be hers and hers alone, a challenge that she also hopes will free her. Takiko's first year as a mother is filled with intense bodily pleasures and pain that come from carrying a newborn. At first, she seeks refuge in the company of other women, but as the baby grows, her life becomes less circumscribed as she explores Tokyo, then ventures beyond the city into the countryside toward a mountain that captures her imagination and desire for a wilder freedom. So again, we have the mother versus being sort of a person as separate from that role and having that space. And yeah, I love the idea of this. I loved her previous book, and so I'm excited to read another one of hers. Another author that I've read something by before and really, really loved is Agota Kristof. I read her The Notebook trilogy several years ago. I think it was in 2017 or something, and I would really like to reread those books, but they are dark. They are probably some of the darkest books, especially the first one in the trilogy, that I've ever read, and very brutal, but I loved her writing style and her narrative style. This one is a short autobiography. This is talking about Agota Kristof moving from Hungary as a 21-year-old to Switzerland and learning French, and she starts to write in French and sort of embracing that language as her own. And this book is talking about that, about language, about her own life, and about writing. And it's a very short book, but I have been meaning to get to this one for a bit, so I think it would be a nice sort of palate cleanser, I think, in between books, or just something to have in a warm summer evening. So hopefully this will get done this month. Then we have The Lake by Bianca Bellova and translated by Alex Zucker. This one I got when we were still doing the Invisible Cities project, so a couple of years ago. It is a kind of an environmental novel, so it's a place where I think a lake is being polluted, and it's talking about the people living around the lake and the subsequent consequences of this pollution, I think. So I know that it is sort of eco-fiction centered, and that is the thing that drew me to it. But I've been meaning to get to this one for a few years now, and I think it would be a nice one to sort of mix in with the other books. I think it will be something different from all of the other options. More of a community book than a lot of these other ones that are more sort of singular character studies and more introspective books. So then I have three more that are more I'm more unsure about whether I want to read them at this particular point, but I'm also intrigued, so I wanted to briefly share them. We have Clarice Lispector by we have Clarice Lispector's Agua Viva. This is flash fiction, and I really want to read something by Lispector, and I've been wanting to read something by Lispector for years, but I feel like I'm very intimidated by her, and I feel similarly to Virginia Woolf that it would be hard work to get into her writing. So I've heard, everything I've heard of this book sounds like it's very weird and fantastical, but I just don't really know what the themes are or the motifs, so I feel like I would go into this quite blind, but I am very intrigued. We'll see. It is lower on my priority just because I feel like this would be more of an out there book for me, but I am also really interested, so we'll see. Then a book that this is a chunker, and that is the reason that I'm a little bit trepidatious on putting it on this list, since I've been reading very slowly in this year. But I do have an audio for this, and the main reason I wanted to put it on the list is because of the timing. So it is The End of August by Yu, and this has been translated by Morgan Giles from the Japanese. And this is a Korean author writing in Japanese. I read Yumi's previous book in Tokyo Uno Station, which I loved, and this one is obviously the title itself makes it very suitable for reading in August, but also it's set around the Olympics. So it says, in 1930s Japanese occupied Korea, Liv Ullmann was a running prodigy and a contender for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics, but he would have had to run under the Japanese flag. Nearly a century later, his granddaughter is living in Japan and training to run a marathon herself. She summons Korean shamans to hold an intense, transcendent ritual to connect with Liv Ullmann. When his ghosts appears alongside those of his brother, Liv Ullmann, and their young neighbor, who was forced to become a comfort woman to Japanese soldiers stationed in China during World War II, she must tell their stories to free their souls. So it's a family saga, kind of an epic book, but the theme of the Olympics just made this seem like the perfect timing to read this book. And I have just started watching some of the Olympics, really enjoying the feeling of it. I do really like the Olympics, even though I'm not a sports person at all. But yeah, maybe I will have this as an audiobook for August, we'll see. And then last up, we have Dogs of Summer by Andrea Abreu. This has been translated by Julia Sanchez. I'm guessing it's from Spanish. And it is a story of female friendship, of coming of age, and it's of two girls growing up together and their bond, and kind of, I think, the ways that it's challenged because of them growing up. And it's obviously set around summer, and this particular point in time with coming of age and everything sounds like the kind of book that I would like to read during this time of year. The only thing that makes me trepidatious is that I read the Elena Ferrante book just a few days ago, and I did not like the third book in the quartet, and so I feel like this might just be a bit too close to home in this particular point, and maybe I will not like it as much just because I was so tired of that book. It is June, and our 10-year-old heroine is sad. She knows she will not get to leave her neighborhood that summer, and the beach is far, far away, and that clouds like the bottom of a donkey's belly will hover all summer over her town, high among the volcanoes of northern Tenerife. But she has a best friend, Isora, and so it's this relationship between her and Isora. But it says, braiding prose poetry with bacata lyrics and the gritty humor of Canary dialect, Dogs of Summer is a brutal picture of girlhood in the 90s, and a story of a friendship that simmers into erotic desire over the course of one hot summer. So, I mean, the queer theme as well is something I am very much drawn to. we'll see. Maybe this won't be at all like the fronted book. It's just that it's, yeah, I'm afraid that I will not enjoy this one as much if I have that too close, if I read them too closely, but we'll see. Those are my Women in Translation Month choices of possibilities. Let me know if you've read any of these books and if you think I should prioritize any of them over the others. And what are you planning to read for Women in Translation Month? Do you have any recommendations of things that you think I would like? What are you currently reading? Let's chat all about Women in Translation in the description. In the comments. I am also doing a movie project of watching movies directed by women, and all of those movies not being those movies being directed by women from other parts of the world. So for me, that would be not Sweden and not US, UK, so basically anything where I would need to read subtitles. So yeah, so I am looking forward to that movie project. If you're interested in what I will be watching for the Women in Translation Month project, you can see I will put a link to my Letterboxd profile in the description as well. Feel free to share, feel free to follow me there. And yeah, that was all I wanted to say. Hope you're having a fantastic start to your August, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.